Hello students. Today we have to discuss here chapter number 5, that is complex number and quadratic equations. So let's start here. Students, you have learned in the earlier classes, that is linear equations in one variable, linear equations in two variables, and quadratic equations in one variable. You have learned all these things. So first we will discuss about the number. It is written here, that is a complex number. So till real number you have studied. Real numbers, that means any number whose square is non-negative integers are called real numbers. You have learned till class 10th. As you are saying, the combinations of rational numbers and irrational numbers are known as real number. That is the general things only. But main definition is here, that is a number whose square is non-negative integers are called real numbers. A number whose square is non-negative integers are called real numbers. So this one is the main definitions. So suppose why we need here complex numbers. So first we should understand this one also. Okay, if you are taking any quadratic equations, suppose we are taking here x square plus 1 is equal to 0. This one is the quadratic equations. So what you will get here further solutions? X square plus 1 is equal to 0 we have taken here. So this one is the quadratic equations. If you use it here quadratic formula or something, so will you get the solutions in real numbers? First check it that one. So you will say here x square plus 1 is equal to 0 and plus 1, take it on RHS side, you will get x square is equal to minus 1. So x is equal to how much you will get here, plus minus root minus 1, we are getting this much. So if you are making a square of this number or real number definitions, if you make the square on both sides, so you are not going to get it here non-negative integers. You will get the negative integers only. So that's why it is not a real number. So if it is not a real numbers, so we have to proceed this one further. So we have to solve this. If it is not real number, then also we have to solve those questions. So we need here complex number. So complex number, for solving these questions, what we have to take it here, let, if we are taking here let I is equal to root minus 1. If you are taking I is equal to root minus 1, then it's become a solution. Then it becomes a solution which is not a real number, but that solutions will be in the form of complex number. So I is equal to root minus 1. So I square, take the square on both sides, I square is equal to how much you will get here, minus 1. So if you are putting here this one, it will become here plus minus I. That means we have got the solutions. We have got the solution, but that is not a real numbers. This type of number is this one. This type of number is known as complex number. That is known as complex number. If you are getting here x is equal to plus minus I, will get here. So we have got the solutions. But which types of number we are getting here? Complex number. Which types of number? Complex number. So student, complex number, that means let, if you are taking here a plus ib, both, I is the imaginary number, this I root minus 1, it is known as imaginary number. I stand for the imaginary number. Imaginary number. Imaginary number. We are taking here I. So let z is equal to a plus ib, where a and b both are real numbers. A comma b both belongs to real number. Both you will get the real numbers. but I, if you are getting in this form, that will become here imaginary number, and I value you will get here I is equal to root minus 1. If you make the square on both sides, so I square you will get here minus 1. So students, if you are getting in this form, z is equal to a plus ib, that means real part also and imaginary part also if you are getting here. So mix up of real numbers and imaginary numbers, so that will become here complex number. So students, if we are getting in this form, that is a plus ib form, that form is known as complex number. So students, now it is clear. It is the large extensions of the real numbers. So every real number is known as complex number also, because it can be b is the real number, as I have written here b is the real number. A real number may be 0 also, so it can be written here as a plus I into 0 also. B value is the 0 because b belongs to real number, so it is also a real number. So every real number is a complex number, we can say here. It is generally true. If we are talking about every complex number is a real number, that will become false, because every complex number may not be a real number, but every real numbers will be the complex number. So now students, we have got here this much information. So suppose if you are writing here z is equal to a plus ib, so here a is the real part of z, and that can be written here real part of z. A is what? A real part of z. And if you are talking here b is what? Imaginary part of z. B is imaginary part of z. We'll denote it here like this. A is the real part of z. Z is the complex number. Z is the notation of the complex number, or you can use it here C also. That is the complex number notations. So Z is the notation of the complex number, or you may use it here C also, notation for the complex number. But it is in NCERT it is given denoted by Z. So we are taking here Z is equal to a plus ib. Z is the notation of complex number. So A is the real part of Z, real part of this complex number, and B is what? B is the imaginary part of complex number. Clear? So now students, first we will discuss here about this I, that is the I value if you are making the square of this imaginary number. So which types we will get it here? The index of this I. So let's see here some powers of the imaginary number. So suppose we are taking here I is equal to root minus 1. Just index of imaginary numbers we are taking here, just powers of the imaginary number. So if we make the square on both sides, taking the square on both sides, so I square you will get here minus 1. So if you are making the cube on both sides of this one, taking the cube on both sides, so students, how much you will get here? Taking cube on both sides, so you will get here this I cube. I cube can be written here what? I square into I. So I square value you are getting here minus 1. So minus 1 into I. So I cube, how much you will get here? Minus 1. How much you will get here? Minus I. Minus I you will get here. So now in the same way, I to the power 4. I to the power 4 can be written here I square into I square. You will get this one. So I square value is minus 1, and again I square value is minus 1. So minus 1 into minus 1, that will give you plus 1. So now I to the power 5. I to the power 5, it can be written here I to the power 4. You can write down like this also for making it simple. I to the power 4 into I. So here base are same, powers will be added, you will get 5 only. So I to the power 4 value, that is 1. So 1 into I, you will get I only. So in the same way, I to the power 6 you can calculate here. I to the power 6 can be calculated here I to the power 5 into I. So I to the power 5, that is that is 5 we have got here, again I, so multiply this one I square, so I square value is minus 1, I square value is minus 1 we have got here. So now in the same way I to the power 7 also we can calculate here, I to the power 7 you can get it here, I to the powers, you can write down something else also, I to the power 4 into I to the power 3 also, because I to the power 4 and into I to the power 3 base are same, powers will be added, so you will get here 7, 4 plus 3 you will get 7. So I to the power 4 value, I to the power 4 value is 1, I to the power 3, I to the power 3 value is minus 1. So 1 into minus I, that will give you minus I only. So now in the same way students you can complete more and more, I to the power 10 also. I to the power 10 you can calculate it here, I to the power 4 and you can make it here whole square also for making it simple, because I to the power 4 generally it is not going to become here 16. I to the power 4 whole square, that means I to the power 4 whole square means you will write down in two times multiplication, I to the power 4 into I to the power 4. So base are same, powers will be added, 4 plus 4 you will get 8. So 8 plus 2 we need here. So I square we need here. So I to the power 4 value how much? I to the power 4 value is 1. So 1 square you will get 1 only, and I square you will get minus 1. So how much you will get total? Minus 1. So in the same way students you can calculate here I to the power 39 also. In the same way you can calculate here I to the power 100 also. In the same way students you can calculate here I to the power 101 also. In the same way students you can calculate here I to the power 1000 also. So few of them just I to the powers 500 we can calculate here. So students, how we can calculate all this value? So we should know here. Suppose I am taking here I to the power 39. So what we have to do it here? 39 is given here, just divided by 4. So how much you will get here? 9 4 the 36. 9 4 the 36. That means 3 you will get the remainder. So what we can write down here? I to the power 4 whole to the power, so you can write down here 9 into I to the power 3 you can write down like this. So because I to the power 4, that means 9 is given here, so you will write down 9 times. So 9 times it will write down and add it. So 9 4s how much you will get? 36. 36 plus 3, that means 39. We are getting I to the power 39, it can be written in this form. So I to the power 4 value we are getting 1. So 1 to the power 9, that will give you 1 only. And I to the power 3, just we have calculated here minus I. So total how much we are getting here? Minus I am getting here. Clear students? In the same way you can calculate here I to the power 100 also. 100, just take it here 100 and just do the division by 4. 100 times you will get here 4 to the 8 and 2. 4 5 the 20. So how much we are getting here? 25 for the 100 we are getting here. So I to the power 4 whole to the powers 25 will get this much, because 25 into 4 you will get 100. So I to the power 4 value how much? 1. 1 to the power 25 you will get 1 only. So I to the power 101, it can be written here I to the power 4 whole to the power 25 into I, because 25 4 is 100, 100 plus 1, 101. So base are same, powers will be added. So we are getting here 101. So I to the power 4 value is 1, and 1 to the power 25 it will give you 1 only, and 1 into I, that is equal to I only. So now students, I hope you have understood this one, and this much is enough for the index of the imaginary number. So now we will proceed here some negative integers also. Suppose we are taking here some negative integers, that is index. If we are getting here index is negative, that means powers is negative, then which type of answers we will get here? How we will solve it that imaginary number? So if we are taking here I to the powers minus 9, I to the power minus 9. As students, we are writing here a to the power minus m. So it can be written here 1 upon a to the power plus m. In the same way, students, it can be written here I to the power minus 9 1 upon I to the power plus 9. We can write down like this. So now, students, what we can do it here 1 upon I to the power. It is 9 is here. It can be written here 4 to the 8 into 1 is remaining, that we will write down here I. So 4 to the 8 and base are same, powers will be added, so it will give you 9. So I to the power 4 value is 1. 1 square, it will become 1 only. So 1 into I, that is the I only. So 1 upon I we are getting here. But students, we have to write down in the form of complex number. Complex number form is here a plus ib. Generally 1 upon I it is written here. So what we have to do it here, we have to multiply numerator by I and denominator by I. So I into 1, that will give you I. So I into I, it will become I square. So I square value is minus 1. So minus 1, just do the division, so you will get here minus I. So I to the power minus 9, we are getting here minus I. So clear, students? So now in the same way, I to the power we can calculate here minus 38 also. I to the power minus 38, it can be calculated here 1 upon I to the power plus 38. You can calculate this one. So I to the power plus 38, just 38 we will do the division by 4. So how much you will get here? I to the power. So 38, just do the division by 4. So 9 4s are 36 by 2. It is remaining here. So it can be written here 4 whole to the power 9 into I square. 9 4s are 36. 36 plus 2, 38. It will give here. So I to the power 4, its value is 1. 1 to the power 9, it will give you 1 only. So I square value how much? Minus 1. So totally we are getting here minus 1. So how much you will get here? Minus 1. So I to the power minus 38, you will get here minus 1. So now, students, I hope you have understood this one. That is the